Okay, kind of like you all over. What the fuck ever. All right, let's get into this movie, this mess of a movie. There are some good points. Um, can I recommend? Would I recommend this to anybody? No, it's really not what you think it is. This movie is basically a philosophical debate. Okay, but before we get into that, let me give the backstory, the back history of Ma Rainey herself. Okay, Ma Rainey is considered to be the mother of blues. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on with this woman. Hold up. Okay, Ma Rainey. So I'm watching the first 5 minutes of this movie. Ma Rainey's performing, right? And black folk are coming out. They are somewhere out off in the cut, off in the woods. It's like Color Purple with what's her name, Suge, right? Okay. So then there's a lot of similarities between this and Color Purple. My thoughts may not be structured, but so she's performing, and in the crowd you have young you have black people, period. Young, old, men and women, the whole spectrum, all black folk come to see this woman perform. She's performing. And I'm watching this performance, and I'm watching, and as they pan the crowd, I'm noticing the women, the old women and the young women. The crowd, the women are turned on by Ma Rainey's performance, and I'm like, that's kind of odd, right? So then I go doing some digging and some research. So basically, what we have here, because old heads like to denigrate the young kids for being upfront with, I guess, the sexuality in the music, when the whole time these old heads was, living in the shadows, in the closet per se, right? So these old women and these young women are turned on and excited and aroused by Ma Rainey. Now, Ma Rainey is no prom queen. This woman, she was a big black woman. She had gold fronts, open-faced gold fronts. I'm talking Wu-Tang open-faced gold fronts in the 1920s. Okay? Okay, so I do some digging. Now, you can say she was bisexual. I'm going to say she was lesbian because, I mean, she did have a husband. Well, I guess that would make her bi. Whatever. Okay. So, the 1920s, 30s, that whole, even the Harlem Renaissance, we all know that was basically a call to all the homosexuals and all the lesbians to kind of come together and come out and show your works. Let's cut the bullshit. Let's just call it what it is. So these early songs, these early music of the 1910s, 20s, and 30s, a lot of them were covers for undercover lifestyles, kind of like a wink and a nod to say, hey, I see you, right? I understand your plight. Like, we're here, all right? So then, because there's one song lyric, she ended up going to jail. She went to jail for having an orgy with a bunch of women. Okay, wait. Where is it? Okay, so there's a song she put out 1928 called "Prove It on Me." This is the song that she tells about the orgy, and that she's into women, and this is the song that pretty much got her arrested. So in the lyric it says, They said I do it, ain't nobody caught me, sure got to prove it on me. Went out last night with a crowd of my friends. They must have been women, because I don't like no men. This is 1928. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the orgy took place in 1925. She was arrested at her home at that time. And then Angela Davis, the freak show that she is, of course, she calls it a precursor to the lesbian cultural movement of the 1970s. Blah, blah, blah. So basically, you have a lot of homosexual and lesbian affirming songs that came out in the early 1910s, 20s, and 30s. Okay? They just hit it pretty good in the lyrics. But, you know, as us in our 40s, we can easily go back and decode these song lyrics and be like, that's what they really meant. You know, like, I mean, they're smart, but, you know, you can only decode, you can only hide so much in words. You know, if you know your shit, if you're on your shit, you can pick these things out and decode it. Okay, so we got that out the way. Now, so then it talks about the great migration of free people up north, and then there's a performance of Ma Rainey, and then Levi, played by Chadwick Boseman. Now, let me say, Chadwick Boseman is a phenomenal actor. This guy could have been one of the best ever, but he took a bad contract. Clearly, he looked bad in this movie. Very, very gaunt, very thin, very sickly. He looked bad. All right. So he plays Levi. Levi is the main character. This movie is not about Ma Rainey. They did a bait and switch, basically. Then Glenn Turman, he plays Toledo. The band leader's name is Cutler. The bass player's name's Slow Drag. And then there's Desi May, which is Ma's girlfriend. And then her nephew, Sylvester. I'm mad this little nigga's name is Sylvester because this little nigga stutters. So this is not a good look. You know what I'm saying? I was mad personally. All right. Levi's a skirt chaser, right? He's a hound for women. Levi has solo artist aspirations. Okay, he wants to have his own band. At one point during a performance, he comes out and steals a spotlight from Ma. Ma kind of directs the light guy to say, "Hey, attention back on me," and then he falls back into the shadows with the rest of the band. Okay, so then we pick up. We're at a recording session. Ma Rainey is late for a recording session. She's at the DuSable Hotel. If you from Chicago, you know about the DuSable Hotel. Okay, Toledo explains to Levi and others that black folk get killed more often while having a good time. So like I said, this is a movie about philosophies, dueling philosophies, old versus new, looking up versus looking inward. Okay, like I said, kind of all over the place. So then Levi and Toledo have a back and forth about the state of black folk. Okay, so Toledo's old school, Levi's new school. He sees things a little bit different. All right. So then Toledo goes on a rant and says there's got to be more to life than just having a good time. The colored man ought to be doing more than trying to have a good time all of the time. How prophetic, even though we don't know if this is what they were saying back in the 20s. We can guess, because black folk live to have a good time. This is why we are at the bottom of every socioeconomic, political, financial construct, class, whatever. We're at the bottom of everything because we like to have a good time as a people. That's all we care about. Okay. So then Levi says his ideas are highfalutin. Toledo says we as a collective must do. Okay. The bass player Slow Drag then tells a story of Liza Carr, who sold his soul to the devil. He carried a carpet bag filled with contracts with people's fingerprints and blood. Liza became a rich man. He killed a man. He beat the case and offered to help others sell their souls as well. Levi says he'd do it, and then he taunts God, daring him to strike him down. Okay, so now it basically turns into a religious philosophical debate from here on out. Okay, he says he eats bad luck for breakfast. Ma then gets into a car accident in front of the studio. She then gets in the cop's face, just like Color Purple with who's Oprah Winfrey's character, Harpo, right? When she got in the white man's face, and then I think the white man knocked her out or something. She ended up going to jail. Whatever. The same parallels here. Okay. So then, Mr. Irving, her manager, then pays the cop off. Problem is solved. Okay, so this is where we confirm that Ma's a lesbian as she's watching Desi Mae dance. And then Sylvester kind of gives a look like, oh, here we go again, right? She dances with the girl and kisses her neck. The girl sits at her feet and rubs her leg. Okay, so then Mr. Irving doesn't want... Oh, no, Ma. So there's conflict. The original agreement was to use Levi's version of Black Bottom because it's sped up. Okay, so Levi, he sees the future of music. Okay, it's going into a faster pace. Same problems that Muddy Waters had with Chess Records. Chuck Berry came in because Chuck Berry had up-tempo energy, high-energy songs. Muddy Waters had that slow pulsing blues shit that was being played out. Same premise here. Levi saw the future where music was going. More up-tempo, fast-paced songs. Okay, so they wanted his version that he did of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Black Bottom is a dance. Okay, it's the name of a song, of a Ma Rainey song, but it's about a dance, a very, their version of twerking in the 1920s. Okay, so the plan was Irving and the producer wanted to use Levi's version. Ma Rainey wants to use her version with her nephew doing a voice intro. Okay, so then Levy threatens to quit, but he comes back. Sylvester, the nephew with the stutter, is supposed to do the voice intro. Levi then turns a song into Sertima, which is Irving's boss. The band then teased Levi about being nice and kind of quick to please Sertima. So then we get Levi's backstory. It's pretty tragic. So Levi tells a story of how his mother was raped by 8 white men while his father was out at the age of 8 years old. He then stabbed one of the men, and then himself was stabbed across the chest in retaliation. Later on, his dad did nothing at first. His dad sold their land, moved the family away, then came back, killed 4 of the 8 men before he was hung and set on fire. So it was this whole thing about Levi being spooked of the white man, and Levi was like, no, my daddy wasn't spooked, and neither am I. Okay, so after he told his story, everybody was like, okay, this kid's got some issues. He ain't spooked of the white man. His whole plan was to get in good with the white man and then kind of stick it to him, right? Okay, kill him with kindness. All right, so then Cutler tells Irving Sylvester has a stutter. Ma tells Cutler to stop looking at Ma's girlfriend Desi. Sertima gets Sylvester a mic to do his voice intro. Ma stops recording to get a Coca-Cola. Ma then tells Cutler she wants to fire Levy. Desi Mae flirts with Levy. Ma accuses Bessie Smith of imitating her. Now, the history, or the story of the history between Ma Rainey and Bessie Smith goes, they were lovers at one point. That's the story. Okay? Apparently at one point, Ma had bailed Bessie out of jail. Alright. So in this movie, Ma accuses Bessie Smith of imitating her. Irving has been Ma's manager for 6 years. Desi Mae and Levi begin to have sex on the piano in the back room. Ma explains that the blues is the way of life, is the way life talks, and that white folks only hear what comes out, but does not know what's put or how it gets put in there. It helps you get out of bed in the morning. The world would be empty without the blues. Okay? After 7 takes from Sylvester, he finally gets it right. They record Black Bottom, but then the recording didn't take because one of the mic cords was bad. All right, so they had to redo it again. Okay, so then Slow Drag, Dry Snitches to the band about Levi and Desi May. What's his name? Levi? Levi, whatever. Okay. Toledo then tells the story of his marriage. His wife had joined the church. He goes to the backstory. He says, I married this woman. I was prepared to give this woman my life and this bond. And then he says, I was ready for this woman to put me in the ground. Because that's how long he planned on being with this woman. Okay, so it's a known fact. Of course, men do not outlive the wives. Okay. So then she joined the church, and then she began to see all these good Christian men, and then she basically divorced him because he didn't measure up to the Christian men in the church. All right. So then once again, there's this back and forth philosophical debate between Levy and Toledo. All right. Levy says, life ain't shit, but death has style. Toledo responds, niggas gonna be dissatisfied no matter what. Levy then says, nigga got a right to be dissatisfied. You're happy with a bone while you watch them eat a whole hog. Toledo responds, you lucky they let you be an entertainer. Cutler then tells Levy, that black people made Ma a star. The white folk don't care nothing about her. Okay. Cutler then tells the story of Reverend Yates. He missed his train in a strange town. The white folks surrounded him and made him dance. Levy then interrupts and then asks, where was God to strike down the crackers? Was he not a man of God? So here comes the major philosophical religious debate here. Okay. So then Levy says God doesn't listen to niggas' prayers. He pays niggas no mind. God hates niggas. Jesus hates niggas. God can kiss my ass. So then Cutler gets upset, punches Levy, and screaming, that's my God. That's my God. Levy then pulls out a razor blade and tells Cutler, well, I'm going to give your God a chance. This is probably the best scene in the entire movie. When he pulled the blade, I said, I'm going to give your God a chance. And, you know, Chadwick, the way he acts, I'm like, yeah. At this point, you should be rooting for Levy. I was rooting for Levy at this point. I'm like, yeah, get him. Like, talk that shit. Right? And so then he said, tell God to strike me down before I slit your throat. And then he said, come save him like you did my mama. He says he heard his mama say, Lord Jesus, have mercy. Lord Jesus, help me, while she was being raped. He tells God to turn his back on him. He tells Cutler, yo, God ain't shit. And then we're back to recording another song. Levy then confronts Ma and Cutler. Ma then fires Levy. There's a door that Levy was trying to open the entire movie. He finally breaks the door open. And then it leads to an outside area where it's surrounded by brick walls. Okay, so that kind of signified almost like a prison he has put himself in. And for every door he opens, it's another blockade. Okay, so that's kind of a spiritual thing. He has spiritual blockage, emotional blockage. He never recovered from what happened with his parents, and he's very angry. He's a very angry person. Okay, but okay. So then there's a money issue because Ma wants Sylvester paid for his work for his own money, not out of Ma's money. Okay, so then Irving comes out, pays Sylvester his cut. Ma gets her cut. She then relents and signs the release forms for the music. So then Stutterman, or Irving's boss, tells Levy that his songs are not the right ones. He doesn't think they sound like Ma's records. He offers him $5 a song because in the beginning he was having Levy give him songs, these up tempo, fast paced songs that he knows that the kids will like. Okay, so then the fucked up part is Levy then picks a fight with Toledo for stepping on his shoe with his clodhoppers, because Levy has a thing for shoes, and they like to make fun of Toledo's his mules, what we call mules, but they're clodhoppers back then. So then he steps on his shoes. He picks a fight with Toledo. Toledo's like, "Hey man, I said excuse me. I don't know what else do you want me to do?" So then Toledo turns his back, and then Levy stabs him in the back with the razor, with the knife. And I was just like, what the fuck just happened? This is why I say this movie was all over the place. I'm sitting here like, you just stabbed this man in the back. So he stabs him, and he's dying. Cutler's like, what the fuck? And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? So he dies. Okay? Now we fast forward, and you hear one of Levy's songs being performed by white performers. The same songs that Stutterman only offered him $5, saying no one's gonna buy these records, no one's gonna listen to these records, and they're whitewashing Levy's records. We don't know what happened with Levy, Cutler, Slow Drag. There's a scene of Ma in the backseat of her car being driven by Sylvester. That's it. That's the fucking movie. This is the movie black folks are like, Sly, you have to watch this movie. It's fucking awesome. It's fucking phenomenal. Get the fuck out of here. This movie was bullshit. Listen, I have a confession to make. Please don't take this personal, my people. But this is why I don't watch black movies. This is why I don't watch black movies. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This was a complete waste of my time. This was a complete waste of my time. I did not need to watch this movie. For what? So I did a breakdown for y'all for this trash ass movie. I get it. It was Chadwick's last movie. People were like, oh, let's see what it's all about. This is why I don't watch black movies. Shit is always subpar. Shit is always... The screenplays is always bullshit. It's always some second cut rate screenwriter with... Okay. That's my breakdown of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Let me I'm sorry. Let me go through these comments. My bad, y'all. This movie was basura. Thank you, hun. The wife gave me some money for my breakdown. Thank you. I appreciate it, because this movie was utter trash. Okay? Utter. Like, for real. For reals. Let me see. I'm going to the comments. Just bear with me. Utter trash. That was probably the best. The part where he threatened to cut Cutler was probably the best scene in the movie. Only because of Chadwick's acting. Hey, Erica, what's happening? I see Erica Williams. Erica Williams is a big dog. She would have making big money. Yeah. How did Viola Davis do? Listen, I'll say this: Viola can act. She put herself into that role. I didn't even recognize her because she gained the weight, you know. And the setting, it's Chicago, 1927. It's in the summer, so obviously there's constant heat, and she's always sweating, and her cleavage is always showing. I'm just like, oh, what are they? What are we trying to say here? But so Viola can act without question. Like I said, I almost did not recognize her in this movie, but this movie didn't need to be made. I'm sorry. If you think you're gonna learn anything about Ma Rainey, you really didn't. Not really. So, um, I mean, she talked crazy to the Jew guy a couple times, but wow, okay, that's it. This was a letdown, a huge letdown. It was a fat suit. That was not a fat suit. That woman put on real weight for this role. That was not a damn fat suit. That was Viola Davis gained 100 pounds for this fucking movie. Cut that bullshit out. Yo, my man Lavelle, thank you for the cash app, bro. Listen, it was painful watching this shit, y'all. I'm sorry. It was painful. It was painful. All right, so movie breakdown out the way. I will chop this up and put it on the movie review channel, of course. Now, what is on you guys' mind tonight? She said, I thought it was because... Listen. Yeah, no, it's Levy. His name is Levy, not Levi. But, whatever. So you mean to tell me the movie ended abruptly on purpose like that? Jazzy, listen. He stabbed a dude. And here's my final point. I'm tired of seeing Glenn Turman die. I watched Glenn Turman die on Fargo season 4. And he just died in this movie. I'm tired of seeing Glenn Turman die. I like Glenn Turman as an actor. I don't want to see him die anymore. BMT, what's happening? Wait, I just watched her say it on 60 Minutes. Maybe she lied. Okay, if that's them titties that was hanging out, that's not fat suit titties. Okay. I read she gained weight for this movie. Well, I read in the trade she gained weight. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. This movie was trash. So if it's important to you that she wore a fat suit for this role, have at it. I don't give a fuck. I want my 2 hours back that I spent for this bullshit. Now, the guy said yes, he keeps dying. I know it's bullshit, right? It was Levy. Okay, you know what? I'm not in the mood for corrections tonight. I don't give a fuck what his character's name was. Are you going to give me back my 2 hours for watching this shit? Okay, so you're watching me because I took 2 hours out of my day to watch this fucking movie, and the best you got with is you want to correct me on the goddamn character's name. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Okay. What else? What do we talk about? What else? I'm over this shit. I'm over this shit. I don't mean to be an ass, but fuck, man. Like, seriously? Yeah. Oh, yeah, right? When, he's flirting with, Desi May, he's like, yeah, maybe, when I get my band, I can introduce, what he said, my brown rooster to your hen or something. Oh, my red rooster to your brown hen. And I was like, this is the slang they used back then. I was like, oh, this shit's so corny. This shit is so corny. The dialogue was so corny. This is what I mean with black movies. Like, you've watched enough period pieces from movies about the 1920s and 30s to know they really got the dialogue down right. But when it comes to black movies, they be half-assing shit, man. They either half-ass or just kind of go off the cuff with it and freestyle the shit. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure they said brown rooster or red rooster and brown hen for body parts. I'm sure they did. But it was just so fucking corny, man. It was so fucking corny. It was so fucking corny. So fucking corny. You always suffer through the bad movies. Thank you, Dinah. Yeah, I do. But people don't understand. Like, they don't understand. But it's all good. It's all good. Okay. If not anything else, I'm gonna wrap this up. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, which I'm